my very good friends. Today we are answering more of your questions from the Twitter machine. And the first one comes from Alex Brugel, who would like to know, good morning, fine gentlemen. Who do you think beats Moxley for the AEW belt? Is Darby Allin still the right choice? Personally, I think it could have been Orange Cassidy if they didn't rush into that match. Be well, fellas. Yeah, shall we do a little countdown gimmick for this?
Yeah, let's just say our answer here.
All right.
3, 2, 1. Darby Allin, of course, yes. I think the Orange Cassidy one makes sense as well in terms of he could have been a real contender, but because he's the first one really stepping up, you know that it's not going to be him. But if it's not Darby Allin, I thought I'd come up with some genuine alternatives, and then we can go to the old trusty box as well, because I think you could put forward some different people as well that people would at least buy as potential dethroning of Jon Moxley. I was just thinking, as I was making my notes for Dynamite as we do this, of Bobby Lashley, because I'd buy him beating anyone, because look at him. It probably wouldn't work in terms of, wait a second, why are you the one fighting for AEW's heart and soul? But in terms of a pure match, in terms of someone who's like, I don't care about AEW's heart and soul, I care about that belt, Bobby Lashley. But in terms of people I actually think would be really good as dethroners of Moxley, as much as it probably wouldn't do so much for him because he's already established. Kenny Omega is an obvious name that has been bounced around in terms of, like we talked the other day on the news about the Young Bucks being the ones to come back and save AEW, and obviously Kenny Omega's all part of that with the Elite. It's not going to be him, but I think he'd be a great challenger or a great factor in this whole Death Riders story. Again, doesn't really work for the heart and soul of AEW, but I'm still holding that candle for Mark Briscoe winning the AEW World title one day, and I think in terms of a feel-good moment, there's not many better. The only one better that I think, and it would work so well with the whole Moxley, no one knows what it's like to be me. What about your best mate, Eddie Kingston? Again, another person I'd love to see win the world title.
That's good. And he's still quite a while away from returning as well, which would mean it wouldn't feel like this sudden thing they've done, because naturally he's going to be gone for about another 6-7 months, like a long time, a depressingly long time. So I really like the Eddie Kingston suggestion. If there's one guy who could shake a bit of sense into Jon Moxley's silly ass, it's Kingston. The other people that come to mind, and I'm aware we've given like 7 answers here now, but
better than just saying Darby and moving on, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Would be one of Swerve or Hangman. Yeah. Right? Because fighting for the soul of AEW, and well, Hangman's kind of done that from day one. He's off track at the moment, being a house-burning sociopath. But you'd imagine the character arc at some point will veer back towards babyface territory, which is a shame because it means we'll get rid of that evil theme song.
Which but is that really, pop when he goes back to the original.
And the original one's good as well, so who cares? It's all good. But also Swerve, he's been Mr. AEW for the past year or so. Great world title reign. Obviously, he's got some business to resolve with the Hurt Syndicate right now and other things, but I wouldn't be taking the belt off Moxley for another 6 or so months anyway.
Good point. It's a long time. You mentioned that with Eddie Kingston potential return, so let's not rule out CM Punk in all this. But if it's not any of those, Andy, we're not going to do one here because I'm going to use this again later on for another question we've got.
All right, I've got one.
The person to fight for the heart and soul of AEW is
Keith Lee.
Okay.
If he's healthy.
Yeah.
Sure.
If it's not him, Bronson. So.
Okay. Bulk Bronson.
Yeah.
He just got married. Congratulations.
Oh, congratulations. Moving on, Brian George says, hi guys, why do you suppose there is such a disconnect between the NXT women's division and the Raw and SmackDown women's division?
Good question. Yeah, best women's division in America, I think. The level of representation is sky high compared to, even if you just sit and look at the matches every week, at least half of them feature the women's roster, which is good, which is great. It's what we've been working towards for all these years. I think that it is in equal parts a consequence of NXT just happening to have 12 very exciting prospects at the moment. And when I say that, I'm not just talking about known qualities like Julia or Stephanie Vaquer or Roxanne Perez, who at this stage everyone knows how good she is in the ring, but also people on the come up like Jada Parker, Lola Vice, Kalani Jordan, name people. They've got so many people who work in this situation. Sol Ruka is a very popular one. it's a consequence of that. They just have a lot of people coming through at once who are good, and also the men's division in NXT not at its strongest at this stage in
that's
time.
fair.
Right, you've headlined 3 out of the past 4 pay-per-views with Ethan Page versus Trick Williams, and I like both of those wrestlers, but it needs a bit of refreshing. Like the second or third highest, most prominent push there is like a 37-year-old Ridge Holland.
Yeah.
Right. So like, and look, I like Ridge Holland as well, but there's definitely a disparity at the moment between the strength of those 2 rosters, and naturally, when one roster is stronger than the other, you lean on it.
Yeah, and unquestionably, the main roster has raided NXT for more male talent than female talent recently, because I've talked about Roxanne Perez going up to the main roster for about the last 2 years, it feels like, and she's going to go there soon along with the likes of Cora Jade, and you would assume someone like Stephanie Vaquer is probably going to be fast-tracked up there as well. But I think it's also, and I'm not going to get into the whole debate about, well, is it developmental or is it the third brand or whatever, I think there's an opportunity on NXT to take more risks in terms of, just like you say, having women having more matches on mainstream television on NXT as compared to Raw and SmackDown. We bemoan AEW all the time for their lack of women's matches on AEW Dynamite, but I think you only need to look at the Battle Royal that we saw on Raw last week, or this week I should say, to notice the fact that, I mean, we were previewing it saying, who's Liv Morgan's next opponent going to be? We didn't even mention Lyra Valkyrie, who would have been a good winner. It was like kind of Io Sky or bust. Yeah. Everyone else, and there's no other storylines, Pure Fusion Collective I forgot completely about until I saw them in there. There's no other real storylines going on apart from, I'd quite like to win that title. At least in NXT, you can mock it for whatever you want it to be in terms of like wackiness, but there's other things going on rather than just, I want to win that belt off.
Yeah, this is it. Like, I don't really enjoy NXT creatively, but from a match standpoint, there's usually at least like 2 or 3 things that are worth checking out every week, right? And often they involve like a Sol Ruka or something like that. I think that, like, it's a good topic worth diving into, so not to make this too overlong as well, but I definitely think the main roster has suffered somewhat from the main Raw program not being about the title this year. It's been about Dominic Mysterio.
Well, yeah, technically, you're right, yeah. It's not even just about the belt.
That's right, and like, you can enjoy that, that's totally fine, but at the same time, when that overshadows the competition, I think that is a problem. And now we're running into issues with that, now that one of the players, Rhea Ripley, is off for a while, although it's good for her to take some time off because she needs to get away from that, in my opinion, garbage creative. I would just honestly put the belt on Io Sky. Just see you later, Liv.
Great surprise, if they did something like that. But I sense Liv might hold it for quite a while.
Yeah, I agree. Which is, she's good on TV. She's a good TV character. Match quality, Io's like the best. She's the GOAT. So
then again, they could just have Tiffany Stratton cash in.
They could
both
do.
of them kicked each other's asses.
They could do. That'd be fun. But I'm enjoying the Miss Tiffany in the bank gimmick.
She's great,
solid. Right, our next one comes from Alan Grant, who would like to know if you could go back in time and watch a match from the crowd live in person, presumably, which match would you choose? Hope you're having a great day. Well, we're having a great day now. We've heard from you, Alan.
It's a great question, that.
I like this.
I sort of flip-flopped about this in my head because I was thinking, what would it be like to be there in the crowd? Not necessarily for the match, because we all know what happened in there, but for the aftermath of Taker's streak's over. Well, what happens now? And then technically you're then also in the crowd for Daniel Bryan winning the world title at the end of WrestleMania 30. But I have to go with my heart. I have to go with something that I think a lot of people would agree with, and I think a lot of people wish they would have been there for. And you just look at it, you watch the match, and you think, what must it? I mean, it's big enough on television. What must it be like to have been there in attendance for it? It's Rock Hogan.
I was gonna say Rock Hogan. Like it's in a lot. Cody Rhodes once called it, I think, the perfect wrestling match in terms of like how it manipulates the crowd and how they feed off the crowd. Like, look, it's Hulk Hogan. I'm not.
That caveat.
Not endorsing Terry Bollea in any way. Terry Bollea, however you say that name. But like, the Hulk up spot in that match is the most electric thing in the world. I was going to say the same thing, but I also prepared a nerd answer.
Good.
For the freaks out there. It would be Kikuchi and Kobashi versus the Can-Ams from All Japan like 30 odd years ago. It's the one, that Hulk Hogan Rock match has the most incredible stadium atmosphere.
Yeah.
This match probably has the most incredible arena atmosphere. It's a tag team match, and it very much has the vibe of Kikuchi, the hometown guy. He's like almost in a way like Kobashi in terms of presentation and stuff like that, because Kobashi is just a big, awesome, super baby face. He's looking after his little mate who's getting beaten up, and he gets the hot tag, and Kikuchi fires up, and like the building sounds like a volcanic eruption. It's an incredible match. If you can probably get it for free on some kind of video website that I will not endorse personally. I would never do something like that. But it's a great match, and if you like kind of watching the atmosphere, like to be there, I would probably just melt into a puddle of goo. But Hogan Rock, I mean... And let's not forget it, technically, if you're there for Hogan Rock, that means you get Chris Jericho versus Triple H afterwards. The all-time classic. So, Nish Sharma gives us our next question. Thank you for this, Nish. Nish says, can WWE ever recover Chad Gable as a single star? I don't think... So, that's a good question. Because he had a good match on Raw this week with Dragon Lee. It was very well done. I even enjoyed the slapstick comedy in that match with slapping the things and stuff. It was a good time. I think that if they wanted to, they could absolutely push Chad Gable as a singles dude. I don't necessarily think they would ever put him in the world title picture. Maybe they should, because I think he's very talented. Him and Gunther together. Yeah, it's like, because the thing about Chad is that, he's not the tallest dude in the world, but I don't think that matters so much when you're that good at wrestling, talking, and being a character. Yes. Like, he's great at everything. Who cares if he's not 7 feet tall? But I don't think their goal will ever be that. I think that they might at some point maybe move him into like intercontinental US title contendership, have a run over there or whatever. But to answer like the core element of your question, I don't think they've done much damage to him at all. No. I do wish they'd use somebody else to put over the Wyatt Six initially, but Chad is so good that I think he can recover just like that. He survived it, didn't he? Yeah, I think he's going to be absolutely fine, and I don't think you need to worry about his prospects in WWE, because Triple H has shown that he will push and promote Chad Gable. No, and having the group like American Made all around him signifies that they do have some ideas for them. They do want to do something when they're going forward, and I've banged on enough about how much I think Julius Creed is a real star for the future. And to get there, you kind of need to really build Chad Gable up, so when Julius Creed surpasses him, it makes it a bigger deal. So it's not necessarily about recovering him, it's backing him, isn't it? Like you say, and he's had his history with Gunther, obviously. So you could revisit that, although I don't think Chad Gable is the guy to dethrone Gunther from this World Heavyweight Championship run. But I think, he's easily going to win a mid-card title in relatively short order. Certainly by the end of the end of next year, you would assume. Yeah. And I hope he's never going to, beat Cody for the world title. But the World Heavyweight Championship is not outside of his reach long term. And like you say, because he's got such facets to his game. And it's now not the case of like, you can do all these things, which means we'll utilise you really well to build the person that we like. The fans are always going to be with him. I think there's a chance. It's not a great one, but there's a chance he wins a world title. And if not, if he decides to go to AEW, they'll push him to the moon as well. Yeah, he's talented enough for it, for sure. It's just a case of whether or not Triple H is going to hold old biases against him from the crew. And, it's almost a worn-out talking point at this stage, like not being particularly tall or whatever. Personally, I don't give a hoot, but maybe Papa H does. We don't know. Yeah, exactly. But excited to see what they do with him going into 2025. I'm a big fan of his, and I think whatever he's given, he knocks out in the park. Let's do it. Is it me next? I think so. It is. This one comes from Mr. David. Mr. David would like to know, when Omega returns, what should be his first Fueds. So kind of returned to New Japan earlier this week, but that's a different animal. Yeah, Game Kid's going to beat him. Yeah, probably. Love Game Kid. Who have you got? Who do you want to see Kenneth Omega face? This is a tough one, isn't it? Because we alluded to him in the Jon Moxley question, but you don't want him necessarily to go straight into that. Well, certainly not if he comes back relatively soon, because of the same reason we mentioned with Orange Cassidy. Oh, cool, so he's losing. I want him to kick Jack Perry's ass. Oh, yes. You don't get to put some, sheep intestines on a cake and get away with it. But in terms of beyond that, I mean, it's an open book, isn't it, really? Like, whoever he works with is going to really benefit from it. It could be really fun to have him and Hangman Page go at it, and him being like, what are you doing? Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if that really works in terms of it, because I'm hoping Hangman Page's babyface turn starts happening relatively soon. So I don't know about that, but I mean, if you want to do as part of the Moxley thing,
Kenny Omega versus Pac again. Okay, by me.
Yeah.
Like that, some of those spots in that match when they first had it back in the day was great. But I don't know. I was gonna reach for the box. But have you got any other ideas?
Yeah, I mean, I really want to see him work with Darby Allin. Like how?
Yeah, they've still got that on the list, haven't they?
Yeah. How have we not seen an extended program between Darby Allin and Kenny Omega yet in AEW? I just think it would be the most fantastic match. Kenny would be an absolute prick as well. He would totally ham up his villainous side. I would like to see him. They're probably going to do something with the Golden Lovers because like they've insinuated Kenny and Kota that they're going to be tied together. So like, why not just do them in the Bucks again?
Okay.
Like we've been there in the past and it was really good. So let's do that again. But I mean, name a good wrestler is the boring answer, right? But Darby's the one for me, 100%.
What about Big Bob?
Big Bob, yeah. What on earth does that look like?
Yeah.
That'd be right up there as well. So,
but let's go to the box.
Hey, we're in the box again. Good.
Find some more feuds for Kenny Omega.
Good. I'll get that one. Doesn't look like it's been unraveled before. Nick Wayne. Fair enough.
That could actually be really good to me.
You know what the problem is with that is they would go like 12 minutes and people would make a fuss about it. It's too competitive.
Who the is Griff Garrison? Oh yeah. I'll pick a different one.
Very good.
Get well soon to Luchasaurus, so that's not happening. It's awful stuff for him. Instead, I'll tell you what does that look like? Adam Copeland.
Ooh, that's interesting. Two crazy men with blonde hair doing facial expressions.
Oh no!
Oh, what have you done? What have you done?
Foley's, various versions of Mick Foley's fallen over.
Well, it's a good job Mick Foley is no use at taking a bump, isn't it?
Mick Foley fell. And Donnie fell gives us our next question. That genuinely was a complete accident. What are the chances we get a unification of the international and continental titles with Takeshita beating Okada come World's End?
I think they're quite good because before Takeshita kind of set his sights on becoming this champion, and his current direction with the Callis family and all that stuff, he was chasing after Okada.
Yes.
And now he's slotted back into more of a villainous role, obviously, in that heel stable. So to one side, you could look at that and go, why did they've just dropped the Okada thing? To the other, it might be a sign that maybe that's coming later on. So, like, I would honestly have Takeshita win the Continental Classic and then take both the belts and melt them together.
Yeah.
Into mega
Great
belts.
shout, that.
A lot of great matches await for Takeshita. Like, he's had an incredible in-ring year at home.
Finally getting the push that he deserves.
Yeah, exactly. After effing around with him last year. So I think the chances are pretty solid. Yeah. And like anything that shakes Kazuchika Okada out of this dog gimmick is something I'm here for.
Oh well, I was going to maybe sugarcoat it a little bit more than that, but I did think as you were talking about that. The thing of him, thinking, wait a second, I've just been wandering around saying bitch all the time. Yes, I've got a belt. Yes, I'm hanging around with the EVPs and living the best life. But like suddenly having that thing of just like, oh God, Takeshita's won the Continental Classic, taken my belt, he's got both belts. I've got nothing now. The Elite aren't here anymore. What am I doing? I guess I'll go back to being the greatest, So I think you may be even more blunt with it, but I like that as an idea. I agree, Donnie. I think that's the right thing to do going forward.
I do think that him saying bitch is funny. I will admit to that, but I think like maybe that's a gimmick for a lower mid card, not one of the greatest wrestlers of all time.
Yeah. Also, it'd be funny to have Takeshita fire back. You're like, you're the bitch, actually.
Yeah, actually, have a bitch off. Why the hell not?
Like a woo off. I saw that just randomly on my feed yesterday. Bitch.
Well, they'd have to be careful because they never say that word on AEW TV. So
it's barely ever said.
Watch out, be careful. Right, this next question today comes from Jamie, who would like to know, hello, gentlemen. As it is Survivor Series month, in a traditional 5 vs 5 Survivor Series match, what 5 WCW wrestlers would you choose against 5 90s WWF? Shall I go WCW and you go WWE?
I have a 5 on 5. I've prepared for this.
All right, fair enough.
Because I've partnered people up.
All right.
So do you want me to run you through my 5 on 5?
Let's bounce back and forth. Let's do that and then go to yours.
Okay.
And then we'll see which is better.
I picked for first person The Rock, obviously, best wrestler ever.
All right, I'll take the Stinger.
Okay. I put the Undertaker across from him in my 5 on 5.
Fair enough. A lot of people would. So you're taking Dead Man.
Taking a Dead Man.
All right. Okay. Ric Flair.
Ooh, didn't make my list actually.
American Goat.
But I'll tell you who did. Obviously, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
All right, you need a real tough. You've picked a real tough guy. I'll pick a real tough guy. I'll pick Vader.
Oh!
Yeah.
Well, for that, I will have to go because I picked 4 and a wild card. Every group needs a wild card, as we know. And the only thing that counteracts Vader is Tugboat.
Hey, 2 large dudes bouncing off one another. Why the hell not? I will pick from the Cruiserweight division because you need to... styles make fights. You need to counter the large man with a smaller man. I'll pick Rey Mysterio.
Okay, I'll pick Scotty 2 Hotty then.
Okay. Well, the only way you can counter...
He's replaced Shawn Michaels in my 5 by
Well, the only way you can counter Shawn Michaels or Scotty 2 Hotty is with Disco Inferno, so he's my final pick. There you go. Tremendous stuff across the board.
My other wild card was, I know he didn't technically wrestle in the 90s, but he did wrestle in the noughties for WCW, Vince Russo. So it was going to be The Rock squaring off with Hollywood Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold and Goldberg, The Undertaker, Sting, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, and then Vince Russo and Tugboat. It's going to be my...
Sweet. I like how silly that is. If I was to do the full 5 on 5, I would do something that just tickles my fancy.
Yeah.
So I would do, on the WCW side, Vader. Stan Hansen was there for a bit. I throw him in there. Why the heck not? I would do Arn Anderson. I would do Eddie Guerrero. And I would do Rey Mysterio. So I've got a nice mix of flippy dudes and big chaotic dudes.
You could have Meng in there as well, just to
Why the hell not?
People.
And then I would do The Rock, Steve Austin.
Meng on one side and Haku on the other.
Boom. There you go. Rikishi, throw him in there.
Imagine if a fan jumped in the ring. Oh, blind.
That's it, I'm dead. I'm finished. It's over. Goodness me.
Rico Reds gives us our 8th question of this. How about this Bloodline plot twist? Rico Red suggests. Jimmy betrays the OG Bloodline in the last minutes of the War Games match, not to side with Solo Sikoa, but going off on his own like Jay did. In his mind, he betrays them before someone can betray him again.
I think I would look with Jimmy Uso's direction. Where's the most money to be made with him, right, as a dude? If he goes off on his own, I don't really see it taking off in the same way as Jay has. Jay's connection is one of a kind with the yeet, and the entrance is amazing, and like he's the outselling Cody Rhodes and CM Punk combined as a merch guy, or was it Cody and Roman? 2 big people. He's selling lots of merch. So like for me, the money with him would be as the tag team, right? Him and Jay doing Uso stuff together,
or him and Sammy,
yeah. So like, I wouldn't necessarily go down the betrayal route here. I think that I would keep it simple at this stage. I think that whatever happens, the final boss is going to be the key to this story rather than Jimmy Uso, and I would just keep it simple, and I would keep him with Jay. There you go.
Yes, I agree. It feels like a relatively straightforward. I know we've had lots of twists. I've said this every time. I love the Bloodline story. It's my favourite storyline ever in wrestling. But I think we've had enough twists and turns for the time being. So I think keeping it simple, the Solo's version of the Bloodline won at Crown Jewel. You have obviously the OG Bloodline when they finally bring it all together with Sammy and what have you. They win at Survivor Series War Games, and then not that specific moment, but following on from that is when the final boss returns, and I mean, I'll be honest, probably turns Jacob Fatu's head in terms of who he loves the most, and sets up The Rock dethroning Cody Rhodes quite rightly at WrestleMania.
And then vacating the belt on the Raw after WrestleMania because he's got to go make a movie about Starfish or something. But
not the other belt that he was
gifted. Oh no, that's the real world title here. Never mind your anything else. That was someone else.
The best to me. It's the best.
The delivery of that line. No. I was given this by Layla Ali. Blah blah blah.
It's just the goat. It's the goat.
Yeah. There we go. Right. Okay. Who gave it to him? Muhammad Ali's widow.
Yeah.
That's why it means something. I mean, fair play. Sentimentally, probably huge. But come on, Dwayne. Right. Next one comes from
more Instagram promos, please.
Yeah, let's do it. With ZZ Top in the background so you can't hear what he's saying.
Start flipping, crying.
Love you, hate your son. This one comes from Christopher, who would like to know, morning legends of the Squared Circle, what is your Mount Rushmore of finishing moves? It can be men and women's. Appreciate WhatCulture for all medias of entertainment. Appreciate you, Christopher. Mount Rushmore of finishing moves. And we get a different Rushmore question every week. I like it.
It's a good one, this.
You and Handful had boring wrestlers the other
it's
week.
Mount Rushmore. I remember that.
Finishers. We can bounce back and forth. We can have the same ones. It's
okay.
Because it's just your pick. Stone Cold Stunner.
Stone Cold Stunner has to be on there, doesn't it? Also, I want to see that carved into Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
Like, what does that look like?
It would take a very elaborate bit of stonecraft.
Yes. I was flipping through my favourite elbows in wrestling. I very nearly went Zoidberg. I love mine Kirby's finisher from back in the day.
You could do that off the top of Mount Rushmore as well.
Yeah.
If you want it.
And a massive shout out to one of my favourite female finishers, that being the insane elbow from Kairi Sane. It pops me every single time. But you can't have a Rushmore of finishers without having the People's Elbow on there.
Yeah.
Like,
very fair.
Bucket list thing of mine was being in attendance to see the People's Elbow being hit, and
done it.
It delivered.
Done it. You've done it.
Yeah.
We got to put Mercedes Monet's finisher on there. It's great. No, it's the worst thing I've ever seen. I like her, but that's crap.
The fact that she's changed back now, hasn't she? To the money, whatever they're calling it, the bank statement.
Yeah, it was overdue.
What
was that thing that Byron Saxton used to do?
It's one of those many
Saxtonation or something
it's one
like
of those many finishes
Yeah.
where you're like, that looks like it's worse on you.
Yeah, what are you up to? What are you up to there, Byron? My second one would probably just be a powerbomb, man. Like, what looks cooler than a 7-foot dude powerbombing someone?
Yeah.
Like, just slamming you back down on, and it can be any variation. It can be Sid's powerbomb was awesome. It could be a Batista bomb if you want. It could be a Kevin Nash gut wrench. It could be anything. Powerbombs rule.
Yeah. I was contemplating putting the Razor's Edge on here as well. So it's sort of similar. You're sort of chucking people, aren't you? It's all in the same. Tombstone. It's a tombstone, isn't it? Like another one of those things of like, you ever seen a tombstone? You have to be there to see it. It's class.
Yeah.
No offense to anyone else, but it's a tombstone.
Tombstone. Fair play. Should we do 2 more? Solid.
Yeah.
Got eight moves.
In terms of finishers, you can't really argue against the One-Winged Angel, can you?
Yeah, it's never been properly kicked out of by, an opponent. I would put a lariat in there. I like a lariat.
Yeah.
Like, whether it is Stan Hansen or... Look, JBL's... there's a lot of things about JBL. His clothesline from hell was really good. Really good.
He laid that boy in, didn't he?
Yeah.
I tell you what, I'm also going to put a specific... Can I have a specific match finisher?
Yeah, go on.
Nia Jax's Annihilator on Lyra Valkyria to win
God.
Queen of the... Was that Queen of the Ring final?
Yeah.
It was incredible.
I would similar like the Banzai drop. It's just
there you go.
It's the same move, but it's awesome. I'll one last one, a Burning Hammer.
Yeah.
Right. The other thing I love most about the Burning Hammer is that Kenta Kobashi did it like 7 times. Like, he really protected it.
Yes, he did.
It was like, I'm only gonna pull this one out when I absolutely have played every other card and I need to put someone away. So it's like a really dangerous move. You put them on the shoulders and go boom, boom, boom. So no, whoa. I was so shook by the Burning Hammer. He only did it X amount of times. Nobody ever kicked out. But now you can watch an indie show and someone kicks out of it.
Well, yeah, on the pre-show.
Yeah, it's like first move of the match.
Question, is a Burning Hammer, is the end of the hammer on fire, or is the stick part on fire?
Hopefully
or
not
is the whole thing on fire?
Hopefully not the stick.
I was going to say, because
but then the hammer's made of metal. How are you...
Maybe it's just like doused in something. And does that help with like putting nails in? I don't know. The real question to get
answers in the comment section below while I pick up my phone.
And the final question today comes from the brilliant Brian Weddig, he of the SmackDown Photoshop, of course. Brian says, as a dopey American, I've really taken to British game shows. If you had to appear on a game show that required a partner, which show would it be, and which wrestler would be your partner? This is the best question we've ever received.
I definitely picked this question for the video with you in mind.
I have a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different game shows.
Okay, fair enough.
So how about it?
The Hole in the Wall was my pick.
Whoa, I didn't pick that one.
Hole in the Wall. I don't know do they have it in America?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, where they have a wall coming towards you, there's a shape in it, and you have to make the shape. And
I'm intrigued to know the wrestler you're picking for this one.
So obviously I would be garbage at this. I'm the least flexible. I can't touch my toes. Like, I'm the least flexible man in the world. I would do a terrible job, which would make for good viewing, because it's like, look at this bumbling oaf. Oh, he's falling over. But my partner would be El Hijo del Vikingo.
Smart.
Because he could probably jump through a needle.
Yeah.
So there you go. Like, it's a balance. You get the bumbling idiot, useless guy, and the incredible athlete. I think we'd probably not win because of me. But yeah, it'd be fun.
Okay, do you want me to run you through and I could have kept going on this one, to be perfectly honest.
Go for it.
I initially, a bit weird, I've always wanted to go on Funhouse since I was a kid, but I'm not going to include that here because it's just a bit weird, isn't it? So instead, I will start by going on Supermarket Sweep. And I thought you need to go on Supermarket Sweep, you need someone fast to be able to go and grab you the tin of beans or whatever it is that Dale's got you to go and get. But I also thought strategy-wise, because I was going to go Nathan Fraser, because he's very fast, or a Ricochet or a Will Ospreay or whatever. No. What if your teammate just took out all your opponents and smashed them through all the shelves? So Bron Breaker's my Supermarket Sweep.
I would like to see him spearing someone through like a pillar of tins.
Yeah. Next time you're at the checkout and you hear the beep, watch out, because Bron Breaker's going to speed through a goddamn shelf.
Fair.
A simple one, because I just thought I'd quite like to win this, and if you win it by having the most appropriate person. So I'd go on Bullseye, and then have Mr. Perfect throwing the darts for me. Simple, isn't it?
Yeah.
You just win.
Yeah.
I'll have the speedboat, thank you very much. Next up, I'm a big genuine fan of Taskmaster, and but I also like it when people outthink the task. So not really go all out. They go, actually, there's a workaround here. So you need someone who's very good at being a bit lazy. Orange Cassidy.
Boom.
For that.
Yeah.
Catchphrase, The Rock. That makes sense. Yeah. And finally, the Cube. I love the Cube.
What the hell is the Cube?
You ever seen the Cube? It's like they're in a box, and you have to ooh, it's always like really crap challenges. Like, can you bounce this bottle cap off this chair? Sure, you could do it, but can you do it in the Cube, right? So, and they're like, oh, you've got to do it, and they're like, there you go.
Okay.
I'd be Belair for that.
Okay, fair enough.
I could have kept going. Tipping point. I could keep going here. I could keep naming off who wants to be a millionaire. I mean, $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase. It makes sense.
Yeah, like ultimately you could just go for Mr. Perfect for all of them.
Yes, exactly.
What about who would you have on Crystal Maze?
Because Crystal Maze is another really good one.
Because I'm thinking if anyone is familiar with the time period of like the Aztec Zone, hundreds and hundreds of years ago, you want Bobby Fish on your side, don't you? Who else? Just age appropriate.
Not see that one coming.
Yeah, we can...
You remember what this was like, Bob, don't you?
Yeah. Well, it was just 5 minutes ago. We can do this because Bobby Fish looks great for his age, and we look like sacks of potatoes.
Exactly. So but I genuinely, I want to know your answers in the comments to that question. Get your wrestlers on your British game shows down there. Let us know your thoughts on everything we've discussed, of course. Follow us on X, the usual bollocks. And also, why not check out this video right here. We'll see you soon.
Bye.